You for a minute.
Don't stop me ever.
An ex shoots his mouth off over a missing firearm.
She said the shotgun is with my son who lives in Oklahoma City.
Or did you lie to him?
I lied to him.
Where is it?
I sold it.
And dishonesty will always misfire.
I think that you're a fibber.
That would be a fair assessment.
Don't cross your arms. There's only one attitude here.
This is Judge Judy. Leslie Orm is suing his ex-fiancée, Lori Mosley, for an unpaid loan and for the value of a shotgun.
Judge's case number 136 on the calendar in the matter of Orm versus Mosley. Parties have been sworn in.
Mr. Orm, the defendant is your former fiancée.
That is correct.
You were engaged from when to when?
July 4th of 2018 to approximately the third week of November 2018.
So we're talking, sir, about 2 years ago for about 4 months.
Yes.
And the thrust of your lawsuit is, during that 4-month period, 2 years ago, you made a loan to the defendant, or actually 2 loans, one for a trip that you were supposed to take, which she decided she didn't want to take, a cruise, and that was for $300.
That is correct.
And then, yeah, I know. Don't get so excited, sir. You've lived without this money for 2 years, and you may live without it for a little longer. And the other $800, Mr. Orm, is for money that you claim that you loaned to her for 2 airline tickets for her son and daughter-in-law to join you, the 2 of you, on a trip to Florida that the 2 of you decided to take in lieu of the cruise that was canceled and on which you lost the $300 deposit. So far, that's part of your lawsuit. Am I right?
Yes.
I just don't want the folks out there in the television world to get all excited. This is not the Scopes trial, and it is certainly not the trial of the century. The next part of your lawsuit, Mr. Orm, is that 2 years ago, during this very short engagement that you had...
Well, let me stop you for a minute.
No, don't stop me ever. And during this short engagement that you had, somehow the defendant came into physical possession of a shotgun that belongs to you, and you want it back. You've managed to somehow live without it for the last 2 years, and part of what I'm going to ask you is what makes you miss it so much now? Mind the lawsuit, and you wanted to comment on something that you thought I misread in your complaint. You want to tell me what that was that you wanted to comment on?
You know, to be honest, I lost my train of thought on that one here.
Right, that happens to me.
Right. to your question about...
So the answer is,
to your...
Just a second.
Okay.
To my question about, what was my question? I said, what was it that you wanted to disagree with was my question. And if you said nothing,
right,
then
correct.
I'm going to continue my questioning of you. Okay, so since November of 2018, just for my own information, have you been in the military?
No.
Have you been in the United States or traveling outside the United States?
I've been in the States.
Have you been, since November of 2018, incarcerated?
No.
So now my question to you is, why, Mr. Orm, during a planet-wide pandemic, 2 years later, all of a sudden you're missing the shotgun and this $1,100 or so that you claim she borrowed from you 2 years ago?
That's a good question. So what happened is that she had shared with me that she was going to be moving to Washington State for one reason or another. We're going to be moving. What about getting this various stuff back? And she said, well, you know, the shotgun is with my son, Brandon, who lives in Oklahoma City. And I was like, okay, well, what can you do to get that back?
Mr. Orm, on what date did you have that conversation with her? And if you don't remember the exact date, give me the month and year that you had that conversation
just recently,
with her.
right here.
Okay.
Those are the text messages.
Were you still in a relationship with her?
No.
After November of 2018?
No.
How did you find out that she was moving?
We would text and talk back and forth just on a, I don't know, meager basis, I guess, for lack of a better term. And that's when she had shared with me that she was moving out of her current residence due to she's being forcibly asked to move. So when at that point in time, I figured, okay, now's a good time, because I didn't know she was going to be moving. I figured as long as my property and stuff is there, we're fine. But then when she said she's going to move,
property. You're talking about your shotgun. That's the only property that's part of this.
yes.
That's the only property that's part of this.
Well, but that is neither here nor there. With the
You're
broken.
talking about an engagement. You're talking about an engagement ring.
Yeah, I could go. That's kind of a mute issue. I could go after that, but I'm not. I'm not looking to, be petty
Mr.
here or anything
Orm,
like that.
Mr. Orm, that you would get back.
Okay.
Mr. Orm, the engagement ring, if you sued for it, you would get back.
Okay.
Because that's the law.
Right.
An engagement is a contract to marry. If the marriage doesn't take place, irrespective of who calls off the wedding, you're entitled to the engagement ring back. But you didn't sue for that. That you would have actually gotten back. And this could have been a short case. I could have moved on to case number 2. This is a little more complicated. Okay, now I'm going to see the text messages, and you're talking about text messages from November of this year.
Yes.
About the shotgun. That's what I want to see. You say, how am I going to get my shotgun back from you before you leave? She says, well, I have to get it from Brandon. I assume that's your son. He took it to clean up the rust and stuff on the barrel. Okay. How would it have rusted unless you had said it had rust on it when you left it here? Oh, okay. Is there anything else on there?
No, that was...
That was it. Okay.
Right.
Miss Mosley, answer to him suggests that you left it there. That's what you said in your text.
Left it at my old residence, or?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Left, just pay careful attention.
Okay.
I read the text. I don't know whether you did. He said, how am I going to get my shotgun back? You said, my son Brandon took it because it had rust. Okay. And how am I supposed to get, because that was the question. You responded to him, it had rust when you left it here. You didn't say it had rust when you gave it to me. You said it had rust when you left it here. You were responding to him. So the shotgun is with your son Brandon in Oklahoma City?
No, I actually...
Is that right?
No.
Where is it?
I sold it.
You sold it to whom?
I sold it...
Listen to me. I'm not liking, you see, the answers so far that you're giving me. I'm not liking them. Do you understand?
Yes.
And you have a son, a daughter-in-law, you have grandchildren?
Yes.
You don't want to be made foolish. The shotgun, according to what you said to him, was with your son Brandon.
Yes.
Brandon, I assume, lives in Oklahoma City.
He does.
And you do not live in Oklahoma City.
No, I don't.
So if what you just started to say to me was, I sold it, that means that either you sold it or you directed Brandon, got it back to you somehow by mail, unlikely, and you sold it from where you were. Well, you live where? In Los Angeles, in California, in Washington? Where do you live?
Currently, I live in Washington.
Okay, so now I gave you all those options. Where was it sold? In Oklahoma City or in Washington?
Oklahoma City.
Or did you lie to him?
I lied to him.
That you gave it to Brandon?
Yes.
You lied to him?
Yes.
That you gave it to Brandon?
Yes.
Well, now you just said to me you sold it in Oklahoma City. Well, that would be where your son lives. So explain to me how you sold it in Oklahoma City.
Sorry, Your Honor. I did not sell it in Oklahoma City. I sold it in Utah when I was still living there.
Okay, just a second. So then you just lied to both of us.
Well, I lied to him because...
I just want to know, you lied...
Yes,
Well, you lied to me, too. You said you lied to both of us. You lied to him and you lied to me.
Yes.
Right? Okay. You placed a value, sir, of $500 on the shotgun. Is that right?
Correct.
Because the alleged loans you made, which I'll get to in a moment, were $1,100. So you placed a $500 value on the shotgun. You're going to get it, Mr. Orm, because I don't the shotgun. But clearly, based upon the text, she had no right to do anything with it. And I think she's being a wise person. I say that in an unflattering way.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I don't believe anything that you say to me. I think that you're a fibber, to him and to me.
That would be a fair assessment.
Just a second. Don't cross your arms. There's only one attitude here.
And later today.
The fact that your sister says my sister doesn't have any money, so you can't get blood from a turnip. doesn't mean you're not responsible for her car being totaled.
Leslie Orm says ex-fiancée Lori Mosley owes for a loan and for selling his shotgun without his permission.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to get to is the money that you gave her. And $300 was for a cruise that you were supposed to take together.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
And from what I gathered from your statements, you were going to pay for the cruise just as you did pay for the trip to Florida. You were generous.
Correct.
You were going to...
It was supposed to be our honeymoon.
Correct. I didn't ask you anything. I don't believe anything that...
That would be a fair assessment.
Just a second. Don't cross your arms. There's only one attitude here. So you're not going to get the $300 back, Mr. Orm, because that's not a loan. Now, the other part of it was $800 to buy plane tickets for her son and daughter-in-law on this trip to Florida. We went to Florida as a family. So now I'm going to go back to the very basic question that I asked you, sir, which is, why wait 2 years? Or show me any text between March or April of 2019 and November of 2020 or October of 2020 when you asked her back for the money for the plane tickets.
I don't have that text. I do have the
No. I don't. Listen to me. Listen to me. I want what I want. I've crossed out the cruise. The cruise, you're not getting back. You were supposed to go there. You were going to pay for the cruise. The $300 was a deposit. You lost it. That she changed her mind is of very little value to me. No, don't tell me to hold on. Don't tell me to hold on. I asked you a question. My question is this. As I said to you, this is not a difficult case, sir. You're entitled to the money for your shotgun because I don't know where it is. I don't think you're going to get it back from her. The shotgun, which is $500. You're not getting the $300 for the cruise. And unless you have some text, email, or demand for the $800 that for the 2 plane tickets for her son and daughter-in-law, you're not getting that. So all you have to do is tell me.
I don't have that.
Well, then you waited too long. Since you weren't in jail, since you weren't in the military, since you weren't incapacitated, since you had every ability to sue her for the money from the time that you allegedly loaned her the money until today, I cannot find that waiting until there is a worldwide pandemic to sue her for something that happened years ago is legitimate.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
When did it start
raining? It was raining the whole night, like all day.
So what did you go out for? Whole night, whole day, raining hard. What'd you go out for with your 2 children,
me and her,
8 and 4? Listen,
met.
if it's raining that hard that you can't see and you're going 40 miles an hour, stay home.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Leslie Orm says ex-fiancée Lori Mosley owes for a loan and for selling his shotgun without his permission.
Okay, it happened when you were engaged to be married. You wanted to go acting as a big sport. You're not getting the money back because it wasn't a loan, because you have no proof it was a loan. And I'm prepared to see any proof that you have where you say to her and she acknowledges, just pay attention, where you say to her and she says to you, I acknowledge this is a loan in the last year. And if you don't have any of that, sir,
I don't have that.
Then, okay, judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. Thank you very much. We're finished.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Well, I guess it's fair that, he gets money for his shotgun because I did sell that.
She was scared to death, so I said, hey, next time I come up, I'll bring you my shotgun to protect yourself.
He left it at my house for 2 years. Didn't want it, said, hey, you need that to protect yourself.
There was no honeymoon. Then I should have got my money back.
Nope, called it off. I found out what kind of control freak he was and said, no way.
God, stay away from women.
It's time to go separate ways.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Davis versus Davis. Step forward.
23-year-old Kenesha Davis is suing her sister, Shamika Davis, for totaling her car and then fleeing the scene. Shamika is countersuing for damages she claims Kenesha caused to the car.
Ms. Davis, this is your sister. She borrowed your car. She had an accident, according to you, and your sister doesn't deny the fact that she totaled her. She did, totaled the car, but then You knew she didn't have any money, so that you made an arrangement with her that you could use her car whenever you wanted it, and so that you could save up to buy a new one. And then she has a ridiculous counterclaim that while you were using her car, you left it messy, which is going to be dismissed. I think I'll do that now, so save myself trouble. Now, tell me about when you borrowed your sister's car.
Me and my sister switched cars in October.
Why?
We were both moving at the same time, and I have a truck, so she was using my truck to move. We had each other's car for about 2 weeks before the accident.
And what happened with her car?
Well, me and her met up on Halloween. We took the kids trick-or-treating.
She and I met on Halloween.
She and I met up together to go trick-or-treating with the kids. She went her way with my truck, and I had her car. It was raining really bad that day. I went on the freeway to go home. I was going around a dead man's curb. This car tried to cut in front of me because I was going too slow, because it was raining. I had a hit-and-run accident with her car.
Show me the police paperwork. Okay, so you had the accident. What the police clearance did you have on your car?
I had liability insurance. It covers any car that I drive.
Were your children okay after the accident?
Yeah.
Okay. When did you purchase this car?
I bought it February 2013.
And this accident was when?
The day of Halloween, October 31st, 2013.
And how much did you pay for the car?
I paid $2,500 for the car originally.
And it's a 2003...
Dodge Stratus.
Would you look that up for me, please? 2003 Dodge Stratus.
Got it.
Car was totaled?
Mm-hmm.
Sedan?
4-door.
2100.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell me?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Go ahead.
Well, basically, I don't think I owe her a dime because we had a verbal agreement. She knew I couldn't afford to buy her another car at the time. So she asked me, can she borrow my car until she can get, money for another car, which I did. She had my car for almost a month. She was dropping me off everywhere. And she purchased another car. She had got a Grand Prix. And then within weeks, I guess it got repoed, and now she's trying to sue me for the car.
Your Honor, that's not true.
Wait.
Okay.
So you can't get blood from a turnip. Doesn't mean you're not responsible for her car being totaled, because I don't have anybody's statement here except yours that you were hit by another car. As far as I know, you were going too fast and you spun out.
It was raining really bad that night. I was going slow. You're supposed to go 40 miles an hour.
When did it start
raining? It was raining the whole night, all day.
So what did you go out for? Whole night, whole day, raining hard. What'd you go out for with your two children,
me and her,
8 and 4?
Me and Kanisha
Listen, if it's raining that hard that you can't see and you're going 40 miles an hour, stay home with your two children, age 8 and 4, who could have been killed in the car if you say it was that dangerous. And if it wasn't that dangerous, somebody caused the accident. One thing I know for sure, it was not her. She's suing you for less than what she paid for the car. She's suing you for $1,500. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. Your nonsense counterclaim is dismissed, as I said before.
Thank you. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy, the virus held up her security deposit.
You want me to go to a walkthrough and infect somebody with COVID?
Send your mother. Send a friend. You're full of baloney.
Next Judge Judy.
To tell her about the damages that were done to my car while she had it.
I'm happy. I think that it was fair. I think Judge Judy made the right decision.
The door panel was completely off, the alignment, and I had to get the brakes redone.
Honestly, it was a little messy. I didn't really mess up the door. It was already like that when I got it. There was nothing wrong with her Jeep that I did.
We don't talk at all anymore.
We don't talk, but, that's really it. Everything else is fine.
I hope we can be cool. Be sisters like we're supposed to be.
But she gives me a hug.
Wow.
A landlord stacked up his renters.
$600 is what you charge.
6 beds in one room, 5 beds in another.
Now a tenant piles up her complaints.
We have no fire escapes in our room. I was constantly cleaning. There are pictures of me here. Here's one of him illegally dumping.
Are you finished now?
Yeah.
If you move into a place where there are 6 bunk beds, it's not going to be a happy situation.
This is Judge Judy. Renee Baca is suing her former landlord, Kenneth Crawford, for the return of rent, the balance of her security deposit, fraud, and pain and suffering.
Judge's case number 208 on and sworn in. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Mr. Crawford, what kind of a residence do you have where you rent rooms?
I have a residence that houses rooms for usually international folks who come here to train for dancing. I'm a professional choreographer, and I lived in Japan, so that's where I began the business. I'm sorry.
Do you live in the house?
I do live in the house.
Is it a private house?
No, it's not a private house.
What is it?
Like a hostel, but mainly geared towards entertainers. I lived in Japan for some time, and I was out there struggling.
Just I don't.
Okay.
I don't. Listen to me. I don't care.
Okay.
Not that I don't care to hear your life story. That's not what this program is about.
Okay.
For that, you go on somebody else's program. Here, I care about what she's suing for, which a lot of which is nonsense, but she wants the return of her deposit. Tell me what this hostel looks like. Does it look like an apartment house? Does it look like a private house? Does it look like a condo? What does it look like?
I have pictures here, Your Honor, and it's a single-family dwelling.
Okay.
Yes.
So, well, that's an answer. I'm going to get to an answer. It's a single-family dwelling.
Yes.
That has how many bedrooms?
It has 4 bedrooms. 1 is my private, and 3 has 5, and 1 has 2.
Okay. Doesn't have 6 bedrooms. 1 has 6 beds.
6 beds, sorry, yes. 6 beds in one room, 5 beds in another, and 2 in another.
Those 13 beds, if all occupied, are all occupied by unrelated people.
Yes.
That's a yes.
Yes.
Now, is your private house zoned for that?
As far as I know, yes.
For you to have
I do pay
13,
taxes.
well, I know you pay taxes, but when you have 13 unrelated people that you rent part of a room for, there usually is a license that you require that requires certain inspections.
Okay.
Just answer the question. I assume you have no such license, nor was your dwelling ever inspected to have multiple tenants in each room.
Correct. It has not been.
So the plaintiff answered an ad for a bed for $600, which is what you charged for a bed, according to what I read, a bed in the bedroom that has bunk beds in it, and was occupied by how many people when she occupied that room?
2.
Herself and one other, or herself and 2 others?
There were 2 other people there when she came.
3 in that room?
Yes, there were 4.
While she was there?
Yes, 4.
So during the time she was there, your income from that room alone was $2,400 a month?
Correct.
Now, were there people occupying the bedroom that had 5 beds?
I don't think so. I don't recall. It's been really slow since COVID.
Was anybody occupying the room where there were 2 beds?
Yes, Mr. Inez.
1 person?
1 person.
And how much was that person's rent per month?
$750 per month.
So in total, you were receiving $3,150 in rent from those tenants in a only partially, according to you, occupied situation.
Yes.
Not bad. Plaintiff lived there for 3 months, Miss Baca. So you...
4 months, ma'am. I'm sorry.
I'm giving... Well, no, she moved in, according to her, on August 24th.
Right.
And she moved out on November 27th. So she lived there September, October, and November.
You are correct, ma'am. Sorry.
Did she pay rent for September, October, and November?
Yes.
And she gave you a security deposit of $130.
Incorrect. I returned $60, and I have the proof here and the cash.
Okay. Did he return $60, Ms. Baca, or $30?
I believe it was $60 after I looked at the Cash App return.
Okay, so that you were mistaken here. So he kept only $50.
I believe so, yes.
Now, I'm going to give you, Ms. Baca, less than 2 minutes to tell me why you lived there, you left, you didn't like it. I wouldn't have liked it either, living in bunk beds with 3 strangers that I didn't know. So I wouldn't have liked it. And you didn't have a written lease with him, I assume. Is that right?
I didn't have a lease.
So you can move whenever you want. You're suing him for $5,000, which is money for the return of rent, deposit, fraud, pain and suffering. And what I'm going to tell you is I have an egg timer on my hand. You're a grown-up woman. If you don't like where you're living, you move out. And if you move into a place where there are 6 bunk beds where you're going to share a room with 3 strangers, you should know that it's not going to be a happy situation.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your timer has started.
Okay, so I met him through an ad that he had, a false ad.
I don't care. Just a second. I don't care how you met him. You lived there for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And you were in a bind when you took the room. That's not his fault.
I was homeless.
And you lived there for 3 months.
Yes, Your
And you
Honor.
lived there for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So far, he's going to have to explain to me why he kept $50 of your security deposit, not $5,000. This is not door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3, Miss Baca. This is not a huge payday for you. You lived in a place, so I'm sorry, I'm eating into your time. Tell me where $50 becomes $5,000.
Well, I got assaulted, Your Honor, by one of the roommates. The houses do have security throughout the entire house. I asked him for the surveillance tape. He denied me that, so I don't have evidence of physically getting assaulted. Within that time as well, we had no fire escapes in our room. We had an ad for a maid. I was constantly cleaning, and there are pictures of me here cleaning constantly. I got a sty in my eye due to the compound powder that was from the maintenance man that also lived in the house. And these are all the photos that I have. Here's one of him illegally dumping. I had to deal with harassment from the maintenance man, who also left his discharge papers for methamphetamines when my building manager had given him a joblet, which was a simple task. He's also sending me harassment with texts and pictures that say, and as well, one of my computers was damaged by a roommate for having food and beverages in the bedrooms that we were not supposed to have. So Kenneth told me that I had a safe place to move into. I saw this place. I thought it was fantastic. He told me I could do my artwork. He even gave me a separate space in the laundry room because of all the maintenance work that had been done. My friend here, who's a witness, had used this room with one of the roommates I moved in, who was a photographer. She does a little bit of modeling. He took some pictures of her. A paper was left in the studio, and he didn't give me warning not to use the studio. He just told me I wasn't allowed to use it anymore at all. So considering I had moved in for the creativity of what the house offered, that was then denied to me because of a piece of paper being left in the room. Mind you, I did bring 3 people of my own that have been giving him rent to stay there in the house as well. They asked for a safe place to live, and I recommended him, and we were all there.
Are you finished now?
Yeah.
Good, great. Now you're going to tell me why you kept her $50.
For infractions for not cleaning her dishes.
No. Are you telling me that you punished her by keeping her $50?
Oh, not just for that. I'm sorry.
Because she broke your house rules. That's the first thing you said to me, which would be the most important thing. So the most important thing is she broke the house rules.
She broke the house rules.
Is that right?
Correct, ma'am.
What else? Anything else?
Besides breaking multiple house rules, no. They was all a combination of that. Clogging the toilet. Her friend, I didn't see the friend, not returning the key, giving away property at her checkout. I have it all in the email. She did eventually. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I'm going on. I'm sorry.
You're going on, and don't go on with nonsense.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the reason that you kept her security deposit because she didn't follow the house rules?
Correct.
And that was the only reason?
Yes, correct.
Good. Then your counterclaim for $3,000 is dismissed.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you talk about other kind of damages, which is all nonsense.
Yes.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $50. Thank you very much. We're finished.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Kenneth is a fraud. Sleepy Dancers is a fraud. The roommates there are frauds.
I'm happy with the judgment. $50 is $50.
He has favorites. And obviously I came here to get justice, and I'm just thankful that Judge Judy knows what she's doing.
Oh, I thought she was great, candid, to the point.
I think that he's petty, and anybody else that would see this case would understand what I'm saying.
I provide a service that allows people who are entertainers, who are struggling, who are going through transitions in their life.
He has lock boxes on air conditioning, so you can't even use that.
Now, there's a lock on the air conditioning because she had an argument over 3 degrees with the roommate.
I've moved on to better places.
If you're 38 years old and you need to share a room with 6 other people, more than likely there's something going on in your life, and it's not for me to judge. I've been there.
All parties in the matter of Don versus Moore. Step to the podium, please.
Brian Don is suing fellow motorist Francis Moore for ramming his vehicle when he pulled out of his spot in a grocery store parking lot.
Mr. Don, you and the defendant were in a Trader Joe's parking lot. This automobile accident happened on the 31st of October of this year.
Correct.
And according to what I read in the papers, I'm not quite following the events from what you and the defendant both describe in both your complaint and answer. The long and short of it is you each claim that the other is responsible for an automobile accident, and you were both parked.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He initially hit my back door, and that scratch or the damage extended to my front door.
I'm not actually sure. I think you were probably both being a little too stupid.
Brian Don claims fellow motorist Francis Moore was at fault for an accident in a grocery store parking lot. Francis is countersuing for his insurance deductible.
Okay. Do either of you have a photograph of where you were parked or a diagram of where you were parked?
I do. I have a diagram sketch.
Okay. Do you have a photograph?
Yes, I do. I put it on
I'd like to see a photograph.
It's right here.
Okay. Would you, Mr. Moore, one of you was parked in a spot where there was a divider so that nobody could park right next to that car. And that would be is that a white Lexus?
Yes. Yes, that's mine.
Whose car is that?
That's mine.
That's your car?
Mr. Moore's, right.
Okay. And the car next to that car is your car. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay. And you were both backed into your spots?
Yes. Correct.
Or had you pulled... Did you back into your spot?
Correct. I backed into my spot.
Did you back into your spot?
I don't remember. I could have pulled...
Remember?
I don't remember.
Okay. Because sometimes if there's no car in front of you, you could just pull in to the space
that's what I try to
so
do.
that you can pull out to...
You don't have to back out.
Okay. Got it. So why don't you start, sir? You and your girlfriend, according to you, were leaving Trader Joe's. And you, sir, were leaving the parking lot where Trader Joe's is. And you were also leaving.
Correct.
Correct?
We came out simultaneously almost.
Okay. So why don't you tell me what happened, sir?
So we had both of our vehicles backed into the spot.
The little car...
Yep. I had the silver vehicle. I was pulling forward. And as I was pulling forward, the defendant's vehicle pulled forward as well and struck me on the right side of the vehicle. The photos of the damage and the potential impact on my vehicle will clearly show that I was fully in the aisle at the time, so I had the right of way, and he should have yielded to me because he had struck me on the passenger side rear door, and because he was also turning right, that scrape extended to the passenger side front door as well. And I have photos of the damage to my vehicle to show that.
I'd like to see your photographs.
So there's a close-up shot of the damage. As you can see, the initial impact was against scrape extended into
passenger side front door.
Rear door. The first impact was against the passenger side rear door, and then extended to the front door.
Where is the damage to the defendant's car?
The left front bumper.
May I see it? Do you have a picture of his damage?
Yep.
May I see it, please? Okay. You had full coverage on your car, so your counterclaim is for the deductible that you had to pay, the $500 deductible. You want to tell me your version of how this accident happened, sir?
He
has damage to the side of his car.
Correct.
And you have damage to the front of your car. His car didn't slide into yours.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You had an accident. Did you have insurance?
I had insurance. I removed collision coverage because of the age of the car, and I had a buyer who was going to purchase the car as well, but turned it down after the damage.
Okay, well, that's too bad. Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Brian Don claims fellow motorist Francis Moore was at fault for an accident in a grocery store parking lot. Francis is countersuing for his insurance deductible.
He pulled forward and turned right in front of me. You said it properly, Judge, when you said that. You kind of looked at it, and it didn't make sense the way he said it, even to the insurance people, that it didn't make sense that, first of all, I hit his front door. He was in front of me at an angle, about a 30-degree angle or so. So he pulled forward and pulled in front of me and hit me, and you can see that he was here.
Well, but what I don't understand, actually, Mr. Don, is how, maybe I'm not processing it, how he would have hit your rear passenger door and then gone into the front door. That is what I'm not understanding from your story.
So,
Mr. Don, that's you.
So I was turning right when I was exiting my parking spot. So I was in the aisle at the time when he pulled forward, and he was also turning right. So when I was fully in the aisle, he pulled out, turned right, and he initially hit my rear door.
You mean he pulled... What you want me to believe is that, Mr. Moore, you were already in front of him.
Yes, I was.
If what you're saying is that he hit your rear first and then continued to the front, in front of him, and he's not backing up, so he's looking straight ahead.
Correct. I was in front of him.
He's looking straight ahead. I don't buy it, Mr. Don. Sorry, not buying it. Okay.
I have a witness here who can corroborate my statement as well.
Well, you have a witness. Is that your girlfriend who was in the car with you?
Yes.
If I brought her up, would she tell me the same thing that you told me?
She will verify my statements, yes. But that's how it happened. I don't know how I could have hit his car from my angle, right? Someone teach me how I could have hit his car from my angle. Unless
I don't know, but I don't understand. I don't understand, Mr. Don, how he could start out at the back of your car and then the damage started at the back passenger door and then continued to the front passenger door. I'm not following that logically.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, go ahead.
Your Honor, he was turning right as I was in front of him. So he initially hit my back door, and as he was turning right, his car slid further, and that scratch or the damage extended to my front door.
Fine. Fix your own car.
Yes.
You had your car fixed?
Yes.
Good. You had the bumper fixed?
Everything.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, I'm not actually sure. I think you were probably both being a little too stupid, and I'm not getting involved with it. If you didn't have collision on your car, that's your problem. You had an accident. Did you have insurance?
I had insurance. I removed collision coverage because of the age of the car, and I had a buyer who was going to purchase the car as well, but turned it down after the damage.
Okay, well, that's too bad. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. We're done here. Thank you very much. You still driving the car?
Yes, I am.
Good. Goodbye.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
You cooked your goose 10 minutes ago.
I don't eat goose.
You're an idiot. I don't know who's going to give you a job as an emergency service person. I wouldn't.
Let's pray you don't need CPR.
I wouldn't need it from you.
Next Judge Judy.
I clearly thought I had a slam dunk case.
She accurately saw what happened.
He suggests that we go our separate ways, which in my opinion implies automatic guilt.
The insurance companies will typically say the person who was coming out of the parking space is at fault. Well, we were both coming out.
Accidents happen.
On purposes don't happen, but accidents do.
Real reasons to evict were growing.
He brought in his daughter, and then he brought in his second daughter, and then he brought in his third daughter.
You had 60 days to leave. Why didn't you?
Then
The defendant moved into the house.
the landlord forced the issue.
You look like a very mild-mannered guy. I have a feeling that I'm looking at somebody who is in camouflage.
This is Judge Judy. Ronald Mendez is suing his former landlord, John Griga, for an illegal eviction, harassment, and stolen property.
Judge, this is case number 75 on the calendar in the matter of Mendez versus Griga. Parties have been sworn in. You ladies may be seated, and happy birthday.
Thank you. Mr. Mendez, how long did you live in the house that is currently occupied by Mr. Griga?
About 9 years.
Who did you lease the house from? What was that person's name?
Gerald.
And you had a lease with him?
So we were month to month, and it was a gentleman's.
Just 1 second. In the beginning, when you rented from him, was it a year lease that turned into month to month, or was it always month to month?
It was always month to month.
What was your rent?
Originally, it was $500.
When did it change?
When my daughter started turning 18 and they didn't want to live with their mother no more, I had talked to Jerry. We call him Jerry. And do $800.
Was anybody else living in the house other than you and your daughter? Did you have a whole house or just a room in the house?
When I arrived, he had riffraff living there, doing drugs and alcohol and fighting. When I came in there, I helped Jerry get rid of them. And
I asked you a question. My question is a simple one.
Yes, there was other people there.
So you rented a room in the house?
Yes.
And your daughter lived with you, shared the room with you in the house?
Yeah, in the beginning, I got a bunk bed.
Now, the crux of your lawsuit is an illegal eviction. And it is your claim that in the recent past, somewhere in this last year, the defendant became the owner of the house and gave you an eviction notice or a notice that he wanted you to move. That didn't happen. According to you, there were locks put on the door and locks changed. Ultimately, the defendant, according to him, moved into the house. At that point, according to you, you had had enough of what you call harassment, and you decided to leave in May of this year. That's your lawsuit.
Correct.
The defendant says you owe him rent, not rent from years ago, because I assume, Mr. Griga, that the plaintiff, over the 9 years that he lived there, was current in his rent, or else he would have been evicted.
Excuse me, lived there for 5 years.
How many?
He moved in May of 2015, and I have a copy of his application, which I provided to him.
Did you manage the property? Is that what you did?
Yes, from the day that he moved in.
Okay. Let's go back, Mr. Mendez. Did you move in 2015?
No, I was there longer than that.
Or 2011?
2011.
Well, when did you start working for the original owner, Mr. Griga?
Probably around 2014.
Okay. Well, Mr. Griga, the plaintiff is going to be able to establish by a variety of methods that he lived in his room before 2015. Now, it may have been that you, as the manager of the property, when you got there, gave him an application to rent a room. He says he lived there since 2011. And how would you know that he didn't live there in 2011 when you just started this job in 2014?
It might have been 2012 or 2013, but I know that there were previous renters there.
Mr. Griga, let's start off on the right foot, you and I, because this is my first case of the day. It also happens to be my birthday, and I don't want to put myself in a foul mood at the beginning of my day. When I asked you, is that correct? And you said, no, he didn't move in. And that was deceptive. Do you understand? That was deceptive because you had a piece of paper and someone who may not be as sharp as I am may have said, oh, there's a piece of paper, 2015. He must be telling me a fib. Then you come back and say, well, maybe it was 2012. Maybe it was also 2011.
Your Honor, it might have been 2011, but at that time, he might have moved in and might have moved out. But I know that I found him in 2015 because I placed an ad and he answered it. And we showed him the room and he filled out an application and the owner of the property signed it and dated it. And we started a month-to-month rental agreement.
Did you move in and out of this room, Mr. Mendez, over the course of 2011 to 2020?
I have been there consistently.
That's a yes or a no?
Yes.
You've been there consistently?
Yes. No in and
Had
out.
you ever lived between 2011 and 2020? Did you live anywhere else?
No.
Okay. Now I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Grieger. I want you to tell me in what month and year you decided that you wanted the plaintiff out of the house and you wanted his room. You wanted to end the tenancy. You tell me.
The beginning of 2019.
And tell me why in the beginning of 2019.
Originally, if you look at the rental agreement, it shows that the rental agreement is only for Ron, which he also signed and dated, and Gerald signed and dated.
Keep going.
He brought in his daughter, and then he brought in his second daughter, and then maybe in the middle of 2019, he brought in his third daughter, and he shared 2 rooms at the house.
They had 2 rooms.
Yes.
Okay. When did he take the second room?
I think the second room started around 2018.
How much was the rent on the second room?
Well, both rooms were $800 a month. And I put together a rental agreement.
Okay.
His wife was going to also join him. But when I gave him the rental agreement, he refused to sign it. So we just continued on to a month-to-month.
Now, you gave him this rental agreement. Was Jerry still in the house?
Yes, he was. He was still the owner, but at that time I was essentially the property manager.
Okay. When did you become the owner of the house?
April of 2019.
And at what point did you give the plaintiff the first 30-day notice to quit?
Actually, it's a 60-day notice to quit.
You gave him a 60-day notice. What month?
November 11th of 2019.
Now, Mr. Mendez, you acknowledge that you got a 60-day notice pursuant to your agreement on November 11th, 2019. You acknowledge that you received that?
There was a paper on...
You acknowledge you received it?
That I did, yes.
Well, then you had 60 days to leave. Why
According
didn't
to that,
you?
according to that, yes.
No. According to the law, you had 60 days to leave.
So he apparently is a mortgage broker, which means he should know the law. So, number one, when there's any kind of transaction that's being sold, he has to tell the neighbors, he's got to tell everybody. Jerry didn't even know.
Listen to me, Mr. Mendez. You cannot tell me what Jerry knew or what he didn't know. As far as I'm concerned, if he is the legal owner of the house now, Jerry knew.
Okay.
All I'm asking you is, you knew he was the owner. You got a notice to leave pursuant to your lease agreement, which is now a month-to-month, on November 11th. My question is simple. Why didn't you start to make arrangements to move?
Again, Jerry didn't even know that he had become the owner. I got an affidavit from him.
You can't tell me that.
But still, nobody knew that he had become the owner. Nobody knew.
Okay. Well, now you know, right?
Right.
Mr. Mendez, I'm sort of sympathetic with you. I was very sympathetic when I read your papers. Initially, I'm getting a little less sympathetic because he didn't move to evict you during COVID. He didn't. He told you well before anybody knew that there was going 19 that he wanted you out of the house.
Okay, so...
He wanted you to leave. Now, I want to know why you didn't move.
Because Jerry told me, no, it's still his house. And he had never told me he bought the house.
Okay. Now, on what date did the defendant show you proof, if ever, that it was, in fact, his house?
He never did.
Just a second. Tell me the circumstances around which you became the owner of this house.
The owner was having financial difficulties, and he asked me, he was in foreclosure. Anyway, he asked me if I would buy the place.
So is what you're telling me, you bought the house before it went into foreclosure?
Yes.
Okay. In what month and year?
April 30th of 2019.
And how much did you pay for it?
I paid off the balance from his existing loan and took over his existing loan, so about $400,000. I don't know the exact number.
And who was the mortgage holder? What financial institution?
It was a bank. I forgot the name right now.
And what was the exact amount of the mortgage that they held on this property?
I would say about $350,000 was the loan, and there's probably about another $40,000 in back payments.
So he was in arrears? Is that what you're telling me? He was in arrears on that?
I paid $29,030 for the back amount and took over
$29,030. And you took over the existing mortgage.
That was about
which was how much?
$355,000.
When you made this transfer with the bank, did Jerry sign the papers? Or was your arrangement, Mr. Grieger, with the bank? Did you take over title to the house from the bank?
I got a new loan.
That's not my question. My question is, did you buy the house from the bank?
No, I bought it from Jerry.
Jerry, was he at the closing? Was there a closing? Because he didn't get any money.
No, you normally you sign all the documents, you get documents notarized, and then you do the recording of the deed.
What's the address of the house?
29 WACO.
Where is that located?
In Simi Valley.
How much money did you pay to Jerry?
I didn't pay anything to Jerry. Jerry says if I can make the payments current and if he can live in the house, he would transfer the house to me.
Well, Mr. Grieger, you got yourself a very, very good deal.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That would be better than giving it to you. He doesn't have to go to other friends to do that. He's got Mr. Mendez. At the beginning of this process, I wasn't so happy with you. I'm getting a little happier.
Ronald Mendez says his former landlord, John Griga, illegally evicted him and his family. John is countersuing for unpaid rent and harassment.
Well, Mr. Grieger, you got yourself a very, very good deal.
The house needed a lot of work.
Just a second. According to my trusty little iPad and Zillow, you got a very good deal. You paid $320,000 for the house. The estimate or zestimate for this house, the high range is $700,000 or more than twice what you paid for it a year ago. So you got yourself a pretty good deal without paying Jerry a penny.
When I had the...
Didn't you suggest him that maybe he should put the house on the open market and see before it got foreclosed? Maybe he could wind up with a couple of bucks. He had been paying the mortgage for at least 9 years. How do you know, Jerry?
I've helped them on getting loan modification for his house about 5 years prior.
The average selling price for the houses nearby or the comps are $600 of what you bought the house for.
Your Honor, when the bank did the appraisal, they appraised it for $530,000, and that's with having the pool redone and the roof redone, a lot of work to be done.
All I'm telling you is, even if they appraise it at $530,000, you still got a pretty good deal. That's still almost twice what you paid for it.
Well, in a couple of weeks later, he was going to lose the house, and he offered it to me. And he went to everybody else, and he had no other...
You know, somebody who's in that business, sir, like you, because you said, that's my business. I helped them get a mortgage. I helped them do this. You know, you look like a very mild-mannered guy. I have a feeling that I'm looking at somebody who is in camouflage.
Your Honor, I don't do mortgages.
Did you suggest to him that the houses in the neighborhood were selling for far more than what his existing mortgage is, and perhaps he could, even if he wound up with $50,000 in his pocket, that would be better than giving it to you for just bringing the mortgage up to date. He doesn't have to go to other friends to do that. He's got friends like you. He doesn't need any other enemies. Okay. I want you to tell me, Mr. Mendez, you see, at the beginning of this process, I wasn't so happy with you. I'm getting a little happier, just a little.
Moment.
Considering the fact that you got a house for practically nothing was some sort of shady. I'm just new to your circumstance, and a quick observation on my trusty little iPad suggests to me you're the luckiest guy around.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ronald Mendez is accusing his former landlord, John Griga, of illegally evicting him and his family.
You finally moved out in May. Where did you go?
I moved pretty much a mile away. A mile away. I had to put down almost $8,000.
Just a second. You moved a mile away into a house with your wife and 3 children?
Correct.
And did you rent it or buy it?
No, I don't have that kind of money. I had to rent it.
I'm just asking you.
Okay.
Rent. And what's the rent that you pay?
Almost $3,000.
For how many rooms?
Has 3 rooms.
The house has 3 rooms, or the house has more rooms and you have 3 rooms?
No, just 3 rooms.
What does that mean?
It just has 3 rooms. And a living room and a kitchen, of course, yeah.
Is what you're telling me, Mr. Mendez, try not to be obtuse with me, is what you're telling me you rented a 3-bedroom, single-family house?
Yes.
Good, for $3,000
Correct.
a month?
Correct.
That sounds reasonable. That's where you should live.
Right.
What kind of work do you
do? Retail.
What does that mean, retail?
Right now I work for Hobby Lobby. which is a hobby store.
Okay. And your wife, does she work?
She does rehab for women addicted to drugs and alcohol.
And what about your daughters? Do they work?
Michaela is a special education teacher. Rilyn is in school right now for cosmetology. And my youngest one is studying to be a vet.
Okay. So you have 3 people who were there who contribute to running the household.
Yes. And they pay the rent.
As it should be.
Yeah.
Well, and everybody contributes to paying the rent, as
Correct.
it should be.
Correct.
And you signed a lease in this house?
Yes.
When did you sign the lease?
May 1st.
Did you give them a deposit?
Yeah, I had to put down around almost $3,000.
In April of 2020, did you pay rent in the rooms where you were living?
No, Jerry said he wouldn't.
No.
Okay.
No. Don't tell me what Jerry said.
No.
Just answer my question. Did you pay rent in April of 2020?
I could not.
You could not.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't take it.
Yes.
Don't tell me what Jerry said.
No.
Jerry's not here. I don't care what you say he said.
What the thing is that Jerry was his voice because he would not talk to me. So Jerry said, John says not
What
to,
I said to you?
don't put Jerry in the middle, but he was the
Tell me
middle.
what Jerry said.
Correct.
That's not my problem. Then you should have had him here.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Did you pay rent in April is my question.
No.
The answer is no.
No.
Did you pay rent in March?
No.
Did you pay rent in February?
No.
Did you pay rent in January?
No.
Did you pay rent in December?
Yes.
So not having paid rent, and the rent was $800 a month, you had the $2,400 a month that you needed for the security deposit and to move in to the other house.
Correct.
Good. And now you want another $5,000.
Okay, so there's an actual breakdown.
No.
Yes, I do. It was actually 9,000 something. Yes. Because I hate to say, but the agreements that I made was with Jerry. Everything was Jerry. He was never in the picture. He was never in the picture. Jerry said, take the money and apply it to the...
Your case is dismissed. Now we're going to get to your counterclaim, which is likewise dismissed, sir. I think that whatever the fact that you got a house for practically nothing was some sort of shady. I don't know what condition this Jerry is. I don't know what condition. I don't know if he has family. I don't know any of those things. But I'm just new to your circumstance. And a quick observation on my trusty little iPad suggests to me you're the luckiest guy around. You bought a house for $320,000. The estimate is $699,000, or more than twice what you paid for it a year ago. And the guy, Jerry, is evidently still living there. Is he still living there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We're done here. I have a counterclaim that I've dismissed, and I hope you're happy in your 3-bedroom house with your wife and 3 children, which is where you should be, not 2 rooms in a house. We're done. Thank you. Goodbye.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy, does she want her money?
Everything started going downhill once she found out I had a girlfriend.
Or revenge?
I think you're pulling my leg. I think that this is a judicial leg pulling.
Next Judge Judy.
This man is shrewd, very shrewd, and...
I really wasn't the official property manager.
He was a peeping Tom with my kids.
That's totally not true either.
He should know he can't just walk into people's houses.
I've never seen any of the daughters.
Well, first of all, he stole the house from him. And I think that was a quick claim deed.
No, that wasn't a quick claim deed.
Because Jerry told me that he was going to get him a better rate in the mortgage.
I talked to Jerry about that.
It's easy to slip a quick claim deed in there. And Jerry's too old, so he just signs everything.
We agreed that that's what he wanted to do.
Oh, I think he does it all the time.
I'm glad that the plaintiff